here, we are our own creators and we can create all of that without lifting a finger. With just go out and follow the impulses and the desires that you're getting, differentiating in between the ego and the divine. So there are ego impulses that happen, and it can be hard at first to differentiate between the two. But once you are able to hone into the divine impulses, you're like, this is maybe a silly example, but an example nonetheless. I was in and I heard pick up the holiday cards. And I literally talked back to that voice and was like, no, I'm not picking them up. I'm doing it closer to Black Friday. And I heard it again, pick up the cards. So I was like, oh my God, all right, I'm following the impulses. I am there. And the guy who's checking me out is like, oh, I have a 50% coupon for this. It saved us $108 total. Like, I was
Wow.
like, okay, following the
Right?
impulses.
Welcome to Winning the Divine Lottery. I'm your host, Amy Dawes. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, Amy.
I love having you here.
I'm so
I I
excited.
I know I am so excited. I was really hoping that I could have had a dance party with you, but Zoom changed its settings. So, hey, we're just gonna have to take that energy and fuel it into this episode. And I just want to say for the listeners here, who you are to me. I just think it's incredible how people come into your lives and
Mm,
how through mutual mentors on Facebook we got connected. And
yes.
I first reached out to you because I knew that you were supposed to design my book cover for my latest book, God's Dog, that I wrote. And through that process, you were just so open to change. You were patient. You were just so respectful. You also understood me because I knew if I just handed it to you, you could take that and create something amazing and magical. And you just got me right off the get-go. And
Oh,
I just absolutely love you. And the more I get to know you, like you just have a really special place in my heart. So I'm so glad to have you here today and for
thank
everybody
you.
to hear your story and sharing your wisdom.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Amy. I knew the second you reached out for the book, I was like, oh, this is going to be a good match. Like energetically, I could feel it. And when you sent me everything, I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to be a part of this. So thank you for trusting me with that because I know how special that book is to you and sentimental and important. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to work with you on it.
Yeah. So share because you have this beautiful background. Why don't we start there? Just share like how
Sure.
you got into this brand embodied agency, a little bit of your background, how you found that path in your life and what you offer.
Yeah, sure. So it's a little bit of a story. Basically, I was in the online coaching industry. So previous to this life, I was in real estate and I was selling houses and I loved it. And it was like I loved the grind and it was so good. And then I became a mom and I was like, I can't do this anymore. My priority is not real estate. It's my family. And I was missing bedtime and bath time and waking times. And it was crazy. I was like, what am I doing this for? So I pivoted into the online coaching space and changed what I was coaching on a few different times. And each time I just kind of felt like, this isn't it. This isn't it. And I was kind of in a funk one day. Not kind of, I was in a real like funk. And I called my sister and she was like, well, do you want to have a pity party or do you want like my suggestion? I'm like, no, I don't want to be in this space. Like, give me your suggestions. So she said, I know how much you love to create things. Why don't you make a journal or something like that and put it on Amazon for sale? And I was like, what? And so this is 3 years ago now. And she was like, yeah, people are doing this all the time. I follow people on TikTok. I'll send you some videos. She sent me like 4 videos and I watched them all and I took off running. I went on Canva and designed a 21-day gratitude journal and just like poured my heart into it. I can't even remember how long it took, but I feel like it was a blink of an eye. It just poured out of me. And I put it on Amazon and I just had so much fun being creative and letting whatever it was flow out of me and then sharing it with the world. And I didn't care if I didn't sell one single journal. That journal did so much for me just in the creation of it. So that's where Brand Embodied was born. I was like, Andrea, why aren't you doing this for your job, like for a living, for your business? Like you love doing this side of the work. So I pivoted at that moment, pretty much like within that week, and was like, I'm doing this. So I love Canva. I am self-taught on Canva. And now I just love sharing information on tips and tricks with other entrepreneurs who might be looking to create things on their own. As well as I have created an agency now of other graphic designers as well to help service entrepreneurs at a high level without breaking the bank. So it's like kind of two-sided business because I still want that opportunity for people who are looking to do things on their own to still have guidance instead of putting out half-assed graphics and getting scrolled over, right? Because so many of us are so passionate about what we do and the graphic piece of it, that social media graphic might not be our forte. It might not be our strong suit. So if people are still wanting to learn and do that on their own, I want to help them with that, and feel empowered in that. Or they can hire our agency and we'll take it over for them and, do full service social media branding, book covers, oracle cards, right? Like all the things. So that's my story.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
how did it go with that 21-day journal? I'm curious.
I think I made like 500 bucks in sales, which was phenomenal. Like I
Yeah,
expected nothing. It was so much fun and people just were excited that I did something different and, were excited to, I guess, support me in it. And, so I don't know the exact number, what that equates to in sales, but it was a good amount. It was fun.
that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
I love that story. And you're right. I mean, I'm a creative person like you too, and I love using Canva. But it's a there's a lot available on Canva. Like it's
Yes.
limitless possibility. And for someone to do it all themselves, I mean, that takes time. And
Hours.
I can speak for myself. Like I don't actually mind doing that stuff because I love being creative too. And
Yeah.
at the same time, though, it's so refreshing to be able to know that you can hand it over to somebody and they
Yeah.
know what they're doing. Like they're an expert in that field, which I believe that you are. And also
Yeah.
to have that guidance, if you just need a little bit of polishing or refining around the edges. I really do love that. And
Yeah.
how are you finding since you launched Brand Embodied Agency? What is that opening up for you? How does that feel?
It's been really interesting. So the graphic designers that I have trained and hired, um, we have them right now working specifically on social media graphics for now, and then they'll move into the branding piece like as we evolve. They are incredible because they're bringing things to me already, like, hey, what if we provided copy for our clients? Or, like these different ideas that I just think when creative people come together is so beautiful and fun and everyone can really bring to the table what is best for them, or what they can put their best foot forward in a sense. So I really want them to feel empowered and be able to grow within the agency.
Mhm.
Long term my goal is to have like a lead designer. I would love someone who does websites, the copy. Like I want this to be a full service suite for people to come to, one stop shop. And what's interesting is that the people who are coming to us right now for work are primarily branding clients. So, we're advertising that the agency has launched. We have these great prices for our social media graphics, and a lot of the people are coming to us for branding, which makes sense because you want that in line first before you move into, getting your social media graphics up and running because you don't want it to be disjointed across your platforms. So, it's really cool because I feel like as we start, people are also like starting with us. They're
Mhm.
starting from their base. So I just feel like everyone's going to be able to grow with us, with each other, through the process. So
Yeah, even I want to speak to even what you've done behind you here, even the background that you created. I mean, I'm thinking I need one for winning the Divine Lottery because that would be
fun.
amazing.
Yes, it's fun. And this was done by actually my assistant, so I can't even
Oh,
take credit.
well, that actually, but you can in a way because look what you brought in. Look what you attracted in your
Yeah.
life. I love that. And I love how we're speaking to business ideas and the creative side of business right now because
Mm.
um, you can literally reinvent yourself at any time in your life. I'm a proponent for
Exactly.
that, right? And so for
Yeah.
you to go from real estate to this and you finally finding that thing that felt more aligned with you is a beautiful thing to watch and to witness. And also for the listeners, what would you say is like the number one value that you want to have within your business every single day?
I think for me, it's empowerment through creativity because we all have a piece of creativity within us. And I think that as we have progressed in our lives, a lot of us shut that down
Mhm.
and don't let that shine and don't let that out. Even if like it's not intentional, it's just something we don't think about because it's not a
Yeah.
part of our daily lives. So, I really enjoy seeing people when I work with them get into it with us as well. Because then I see that creativity come out of them. And I like one of my favorite things, and I say this all the time, like this is your baby. We're helping you birth it. Like no feedback is negative at all. Like I don't care if you come to me and you're like, Andrea, I freaking hate this, and we start completely over. Like it's okay. That's fine. This is your baby too. So, taking helping people articulate their visions and taking it from their mind into reality
Mhm.
is just one of our values really at Brand Embodied Agency.
I love that. And what I heard in what you're saying is actually the problem that you're solving in the world. Like underlying is you're helping birth people's creativity or re-spark it or even
Mm,
develop it or get to know it because I do believe that we are all creators. Like we were born to create. As human beings, we are here to create. And when we hear the word creativity, there's so many false nuances around that. Like
mm.
it has to be through art or singing or you know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah.
actually, whether we're aware of it or not, creating every single day of our lives.
Yeah. So true. Whether it's good or bad, we are creating it, right?
Yeah. And so I
Oh,
love that this is the problem you're solving. Yeah, go ahead.
hi. Hold on. Hi.
Oh, yay.
Come here. Come say hi to my friend Amy.
So this is
This is
Andrea's son.
Jacob.
Hi. You know you're on a podcast right now?
You're on a podcast. You'll be on the radio. What's up, bud? You guys leaving? I'm leaving. Okay. I love you. Bye. Love you. Bye. See you after.
Aw, I love
Love
that.
you.
So Andrea and I were chatting at the beginning. She said that might happen. I was like, are you totally cool if I don't cut that out? Because this is real life. We're both in our homes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that. And you're also, well, that's a great segue to talk about you being what, 8 weeks away, 7 weeks away now?
7 weeks away. Yep. From baby number two. We're having a girl. I'm so excited. And
And you've been,
honestly, Amy, of all of us, Jacob is the most excited.
is
He is like
he?
over the moon. It touches my heart every day. I cannot wait for the moment for him to meet her. Like, oh, it's going to be so magical. He asks the most incredible questions and thinks about her all the time. He calls her my baby. He's like, when is my baby getting here? Like,
Aw.
oh, so sweet.
I
Yeah.
know firsthand that brother sisterly love and my brother, I guess, like I don't have the conscious memory of it, but he used to like climb into my crib when I was a baby
Oh,
to be with me and sleep with me. It was
oh
awesome.
my God. That's
I
so
know.
sweet. How many
Yeah.
years between you guys?
Just under 2. He's the day
Yeah.
after my birthday.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
Yeah, isn't
I
it?
love that.
And wasn't his just yesterday, Jacob's?
His birthday was yesterday, Saturday.
Oh,
So 2 days
Saturday.
ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And you've
Yeah.
been feeling, let's talk a little bit about women's stuff because I have a lot of women listening to this podcast. So how
Yeah.
have you been feeling? What's pregnancy number 1 versus pregnancy number 2? What's the difference?
Oh my God. Well, first off, they're 6 years apart. So that's a big difference. I think
Yeah.
I've forgotten a lot with, my first experience. This time I'm in a completely different place in my life. So I had mentioned that I was in real estate and towards the end of my career, I was actually a manager at a brokerage with 400 agents and 6 locations and 16 staff members. So I was in charge of all of that. And it was super high stress. Like I was not happy in that job. The money was fantastic, but it was not my calling, even though I thought it was at the time. So I was very distracted by work. I wasn't really in tune with the pregnancy as much. Like I've always been very intuitive, but over the past probably 5 years since he was born, right? He's 6 now. I've really delved into that area of my life. So I just feel like I'm a completely different person now, where before I couldn't meditate for 1 minute and now I could do a 4 hour meditation if I wanted to, or, and I just feel so much more connected to the baby in utero. Like I feel the same excitement and love. It's just a different connection. Um, this time around, it's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, I'm just not stressed out with work and things are just different this time. And my son has a lot of food allergies and different, things that have come up. And I just feel like we're not going to have any of those issues with this baby because I'm just not stressed during the pregnancy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's incredible. I mean, stress affects a lot of things. And I love that you spoke about meditation. Is that something that's part of your practice every day? And do you attest to like people using it in their life? I love you're laughing already and be like, no,
I'm
I don't
laughing
use it every
already.
day.
Not every day. No. So I'm actually studying Christ consciousness right now, and that is daily. I think about like 6 times a day, I'll do like a 5 minute interval of working to connect to my consciousness. So that's what I'm doing. So it's a form of meditation, but I'm not doing like the, hour, half hour, 4 hour meditations daily right now. That is something I have done. Um, and yeah, it's interesting too, like as this pregnancy has progressed, I felt like um there was at one point I was like, I should be meditating. I should be meditating. And I was like, no, it's not the right time. And then the third trimester came and I was like, there's something coming where I know I'm going to be like dropping in and connecting more. And then the Christ consciousness stuff circled back into my life. And I was like, oh, there's a course. Like, let me take this. And I've been doing it daily now. So it's interesting how we kind of have these thoughts or visions, if you will, on what's to come. And it comes in a form that we don't really expect it to. So,
Right? It
yeah.
always comes in a different package than what we expect. Can
Yes.
we dive into that a little bit deeper? I'm intrigued by Christ consciousness. I do believe that I try to live a very heart-centered life.
Yes, you
So
do, for
can you,
sure.
can you expand on that just a little bit?
Mm. So I have to preface with the fact that I'm not qualified to teach it by any means, but I can share with you, what it is, how I was introduced to it, and if you have questions or anything like that.
Yeah, and even your experience with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
So Christ consciousness is the first time I was introduced to this. I was on a girls' trip in Mexico. And one of the girls there was talking about, like, have you guys heard of Christ consciousness? And I was like, no. But instantly I had like a barrier go up and was like, I have no interest in talking about religion. Like, and what I meant by that, like, in my head was, I love learning about people's religions. That's actually something I find completely fascinating. I'm open to everything. And when she said it, I just had this guard up and was like, I'm not interested in exploring a religion right now for myself. Like that's what I felt like she was doing. Excuse me. And that wasn't it at all. Like once I actually stopped and listened to what she was saying, I was like, oh, this has nothing to do with religion. This is just about like how Christ the person was able to live his life and perform his miracles and experience what he did as shared in the Bible through connecting to consciousness, which is the divine, which we are all divine. We are all God. So that's what I have always believed. And then it was reiterated in the Christ consciousness teachings as well. So it's pretty fascinating, to be honest with you. The woman I'm taking the course from, I cannot pronounce her last name. She lives in Austria. Her name's Michaela. She's phenomenal. I can give you her information if you want to put that in the show notes or anything. But um, for people to be able to connect with her. But she basically had an awakening. Her twin sister died. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago now. And she had a complete awakening where she lost herself. She didn't know who she was without her twin. And had these outer body experiences where she was able to basically experience being herself and then being the bird outside on the branch and literally being the bird, like seeing what the bird was seeing, and that's all like through consciousness. So I know that's a little crazy and it's not my story to share, so I'm not going to go deeper into that because I don't want to mess anything up, but that's where she was introduced to it, and then it's all about like us being able to create without basically without lifting a finger. We're programmed in our human avatars, right? Because this is all the Matrix. This is all not real, right? This is just like a show we're performing in, if you will. But our avatars, oh God, I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, Amy.
It's okay. When this happens, I always feel like it's because the universe is dropping something into you.
Yeah,
I
so
can pause you for a second because
okay,
I
yeah.
absolutely like I have tingles going through my entire body because I
Ooh.
love how we started with business and the conversation is morphing into this is my jam. Like I
Yeah.
love this stuff and I
Yes.
understand that if somebody is listening to, well, people are listening to this right now. If you're listening to this right now and you're still with us, there is something in you that knows beyond knowing, like beyond the five senses. And so
Yeah.
I feel this is and even if you're getting triggered, it's okay.
Mm,
I love the ability that we can talk about things that are going to expand people perception and
yeah.
awareness of reality. And everybody's allowed to have their perceptions and their opinions and everything else. But yes, please keep going because everybody has, not every, I'm talking about like everybody has it, but a lot of people on the spiritual journey that you end up meeting have had
Mm,
some sort of awakening. Hey there, I just wanted to take a moment to share something that's really close to my heart. My book, God's Dog: How to See the Gift of Life at All Experiences, is about finding meaning in even the hardest moments. It's inspired by my dog, Jersey, and the profound lessons she taught me through love, loss, and transformation. If you're looking for a book that invites you to see life through a more beautiful lens, I'd love for you to check it out. You can find it on Amazon. Thanks so much for allowing me to share this little piece of my heart with you.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. So it's more about recognizing that you're in the matrix, right? As this human avatar, and that this is all fake, right? So there are moments in our lives where we're going to be triggered, and we're going to go down these paths of like I've, always had the example of like that email someone sent at from work that pissed you off, and then you're driving home and you are reiterating the email in your mind again, and you feel like, oh, I should have said this, this, and this, or it's triggering you again where you're having all that emotional reaction, and your body can't tell the difference, your mind can't tell the difference rather, if it's happening again because you're experiencing it all over again physically, or if it's just a thought in your mind. So there's so much power in that, and that it doesn't matter, like none of it matters. So in this practice, I have to say, like, I have become so much happier because I'm just releasing things when I'm triggered, when I'm pissed off, whatever you want to say. Like I'm able to just see it as a matrix moment and drop it and be like, okay, it takes me a second. I'm not perfect at it. And sometimes I am triggered and I'll be like, rah, 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 but most of the time I'm, in this practice, I'm able to hone in and really able to say, okay, this isn't real. Like, this doesn't matter. And I'm able to move through it with so much more grace and gratitude. And I've
Mhm.
just found myself, like, I've always considered myself a really grateful person, but I have truly found myself living in so much more gratitude than I've ever been in my entire life. Like, I don't know, I'll just wake up in the morning. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so thankful for my home. Like, what a beautiful home we have. Like, there's so much love here. It's not perfect, but it's perfect for
Mm.
us, like, and even a year ago, I'd be like, I hate this house. There's stuff everywhere. Bah, 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 and it's like, what good is that serving anyone, you
Yeah.
know? So I've just been able to really pivot more in the way I see things, the way I am handling myself. Opening my heart more as well, which is something I've been practicing with Dr. Joe's work, Dr. Joe
Yeah.
Dispenza, for 4 years now. I love his work as well. And yeah, it's just a completely different experience than I was living before, and it's so much better. It's so much more
Right?
enjoyable.
Because you're free. Every time you recognize that something. So, and I love actually and appreciate that you use the word fake and this isn't real. 'Cause I know that's going to trigger people. I know that's going to trigger people. If
Yeah.
you haven't ever had the opportunity to just like take a step back and understand that what's showing up, I like to call them patterns too, right? Like what's
Mm,
showing up is a pattern of what you've deeply created in your subconscious mind
yes.
and you identify with it. Like you believe that that's real because you have an attachment to it. And I also think of quantum entanglement. That's all this really is, right? Is
Yeah.
we become less entangled with the stories of limitations that we create for ourselves, and those stories get triggered. You see it as just this play
Yeah.
game,
Exactly. The
right?
play. And then life is so much more fun. Like nobody wants to
Yeah.
work, everybody wants to play. But that's like literally what we were sent here to in our human avatars, we were sent here to have experiences in life.
Yeah.
And work is not an experience. It's
No.
something that we have been embedded with that we need to do in order to then be able to have experiences, right? Like I need to work in order to afford X, Y, and Z and go on that trip and whatever it is, buy that house. And what this woman, Michaela, is teaching is that we are here, we are our own creators, and we can create all of that without lifting a finger, without having to work. And she suggests going out and living your life. Like just go out and follow the impulses and the desires that you're getting. And what she teaches is differentiating in between the ego and the divine. So there are ego impulses that happen, and it can be hard at first to differentiate between the two. But once you are able to hone into the divine impulses, you're like, this is maybe a silly example, but an example nonetheless. I was out running errands one Saturday. I had placed our holiday card order at Staples. I don't know if you guys have Staples there. Do you
Yes,
have
we
this?
do.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So, and I was like, oh, I'll pick it up closer to Black Friday. They might have more coupons or whatever because those things are freaking expensive, right? Like holiday cards are ridiculous. So I had already had some deal where it was like 50% off, so the price wasn't terrible. But I was on my way down in that direction and I heard pick up the holiday cards. And I literally talked back to that voice and was like, "No, I'm not picking them up. I'm doing it closer to Black Friday." And I heard it again, pick up the cards. So I was like, "Oh my God. All right, I'm following the impulses." I am there, and the guy who's checking me out is like, "Oh, I have a 50% coupon for this." And I'm thinking to myself, I already applied that. So I bet it won't work. He does it, it takes off. I paid $34 for 100 cards. It saved us $108 total. Like, I was
Wow.
like, okay, following the
Right?
impulses. Like, it's just even the small things. So it's more about following those impulses where it might be like, go for a walk or instead of work, instead of I have to send that email, I have to do this marketing, I have to whatever, right? So, and I know that probably goes against a little bit what I do for a living, and that's okay. It's all about our experiences in life and what we can bring to each other.
Okay, can we make this like a 2-hour episode? Because I felt, okay, this morning I woke up and I was just, I don't know, I just had this light energy and the universe's playlist comes to me every Monday through Spotify. That's what I call it. It's
Yeah,
meaningful to me because it's like you don't know what songs, based on your listening last week, are going to show up this week.
that's so
And
cool.
this one song, I don't know what it was. It was the beat. I decided to put on my skirt, my sparkles. I was like, and then if you could see what I have on my feet, because it's -20 here right now. So I have
Yeah,
on thermal socks and I'm wearing a skirt and I'm dancing around and I ended up making a reel on Instagram. But this is the energy that I was in this morning and I knew I knew that something magical was going to happen. And you are taking winning the divine lottery where I've always wanted to take it.
Yes, I just got
Because
goosebumps.
Neville Goddard talks about this. I've read a book more than once now called it's a tiny little bit book, sorry, even smaller than God's Dog, and
Yeah.
it's called Money Flows to Me Easily. And
Ooh,
his premise in it is if you just do this, you don't have to lift a finger and opportunities will come to you. And most people can't wrap their heads around that, right? Because we are taught to survive. And in order
yeah,
to survive, we have to take action. And the funny thing is listening to those divine nudges doesn't mean you're not taking action. It's just completely different action. It's aligned,
correct.
inspired action. And I
Yes.
love the story that you shared because it was like the divine knew that you were going to save money anyways. He just
Yeah,
didn't know that you were going to save money and was giving I really truly feel that whatever you want to call it, the divine, God, the universe,
yeah,
actually wants to give us everything that we desire, and it
everything.
knows how to satisfy us by delighting and surprising us. Because I've had
Yes.
so many of those experiences too, Andrea.
And Amy, on the flip side, the Matrix
Yeah.
doesn't want us to experience
No.
that. So
Yeah.
it triggers us. It knows exactly how to play the games. It sucks us back in. And
Yes.
there have been so many moments in this practice for me that I'm like, oh my God, it's the Matrix. Like,
Yep.
just release it. It's fake. It doesn't, it's not
Yep.
even real, you know?
Yep.
So, and it, there have been so many examples in the group that I'm doing this course with of other women as well. And, one of them is, or actually, I think it was Michaela, the teacher. She was like, I got a bill from an attorney for $50,000 that was due in 5 days in the mail. And for most of us would be like, oh my God, like how I don't have that laying around, like how am I going to
Yeah.
pay this? And then you go down this rabbit hole of like, what
Yeah.
sale can I do? What can I, whatever, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you run your own
Yes.
business, it's like, how am I going to do this? And then your brain gets to the how. And she just suggests putting it away, putting it underneath something. Don't look at it. Don't even acknowledge it. Live your life, which I know this is going to trigger some people because some people are like, what do you mean don't acknowledge it? We have to pay this. And live your life and have these experiences. She goes, I put it under a book. I took my daughter out and we had a play date scheduled and we were out for a walk. And out of nowhere, it was like 3 days before the bill was due. Out of nowhere, she goes, this woman who I had talked to or I hadn't talked to in over a year who reached out to me to sign up for my year mentorship, which I think is like double the amount. I think it's like 100K to work with her. And she paid in full. The woman paid in full. So she was like, oh, okay, fantastic. So she was able to pay her bill
Yeah.
and she got a new client who was just completely unexpected because
Yeah.
she's out in the creation, in just following the impulses of the divine instead of like
Yeah.
the matrix sucking her
Yeah.
back. So there are things that will come up through this practice that are
Of
like,
course.
I'm gonna get you, come back here. We don't want you to figure this out.
Yeah, that's the
And
dance.
yes,
That's the
totally.
dance of being here. Do you know how many people this is going to help? I am so
Oh,
thrilled
I hope
right
so.
now. It's so good. And it's even like, even from scripture, it says, we're in this world, but not of this world. And that's exactly what it means.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's entire. I'm so like captivated.
Yeah,
And
and she quotes
also,
scripture often, which I'm
yeah,
not so familiar with. I was
yeah,
raised Catholic, but I always called us a la carte Catholics. Like we would go to the holiday masses and that was it.
yeah.
Take what we want, leave the rest. But
Same with me.
yeah. And she quotes scripture all the time. And I'm
Yeah.
actually grateful that I'm not so familiar with it because I'm able to apply it in a non-religious sense
Yeah.
instead in the Christ consciousness sense. And it makes so much sense when
Yes.
you hear it. You're like, oh my God, it's all in front of us. We have the answers.
Yes. Yeah, I
Yes.
always say when you know the truth, you can find it anywhere. You can find it in the
Yeah.
Bible, you can find it in a book, you can find it in the song, you can find it in
Yeah.
a sign or symbol in the universe. Like it's just the truth is actually everywhere. It's
Yeah.
just that we're seduced by the
Yes.
matrix,
Yes. So
right?
there are like four things I want to say. So
Yeah.
let me see if I can remember them all because baby
Okay.
brain is real.
Okay.
So one, we also are very judgmental and analytical, and
Yes.
those are a part of the matrix. So you talk about like the signs are everywhere. It's even making the signs mean something that is a matrix program.
Ooh.
So yeah, so which is a little bit like, okay, that's like next level for me because I was always about like, oh, I saw a white owl literally like a year ago. It blew my mind, and the story I'm not going to go into, but anyway, I was like, oh my God, this is such a beautiful sign, and what does this mean? And I'm Googling what a white owl means. And then I was introduced to like, okay, you interpret what the sign is, not Google, right?
Yes.
Like, what does this mean to you? What does this symbolize for you? And now it's like, don't even judge the sign. It's just an experience for us to have. And just know that you're like walking the right path. You don't need to analyze it or, yeah, go ahead.
I want to put my hand up. I have a question because this
Yes.
is like taking me to another level. So, is when we associate meaning to a sign, is that a form of judgment?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Aren't we meaning making machines though? And the meaning that we associate to things actually helps us?
So it helps to keep us in the matrix.
Oh man.
I know. It's such a mind fuck. I know. I know.
Oh
So the other thing that Michaela teaches is that statistically speaking, and I forget the exact number, it's either 3 or 4% of what our eyes actually view is reality. The
yeah.
rest is created in our minds.
Yes.
So 96% of what we experience in life is not even the actual like reality, the 3D that we are
Yeah.
seeing. So you and I go to a concert or something, we would have a completely different experience, which goes to what you're saying. It's just made up of, our past experiences and that's what we bring into our daily lives.
Right.
So I wanted to mention that and that because you
Wait,
had
I have
said,
another question.
okay, go ahead, go ahead.
I feel like I'm in a classroom right now. Okay, so I want to go back to the first one just for 1 second because I
Sure.
also feel it's important to say not everybody is in this place in their
Yeah.
life, right?
Yeah.
So associating meaning to something I don't think is wrong. We're gonna agree on that. It's not that it's wrong, right?
Right.
We're just bringing to light that through Christ consciousness, the proposed premise is
Yes.
that that's also part of the matrix, which
Yes.
doesn't
And
make
it's
it
just something to
wrong,
be
right?
aware of.
Because
Right.
we're
Just to be
we're
aware of it.
living in the matrix, right? Quote
Yep.
unquote. Okay, and then the second thing, I actually know I've it's not the first time I've actually heard that before. I mean,
Okay.
our minds project a holographic image and then
Yes.
we tell the story.
Right. We complete the story. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Exactly. And then there was one other thing that has slipped my mind, but as soon as it comes back to me, I will share it.
Because I keep asking questions.
I know it's good. It's good. I love it. It's the conversation that I'm like, oh, I have to say this. Oh, this is what it was. Here it is. There is a book when I first was introduced to Christ consciousness. It was free on Audible at the time. I don't know if it still is, but it's called Jesus, My Autobiography.
Mm.
I forget the author's name. Excuse me. And again, hold on one second. My son caught a cold, and of course, I'm fighting it now. Let me
That's
see if there's.
okay. It means
I thought
nothing.
I thought I had. Yeah, exactly. It does it. That's the matrix. That's a part of the matrix is physical symptoms, right?
Yeah.
I thought I had a cough drop, and I don't. So hold on. Okay. Um, so the book, I again was like, Jesus, my autobiography. I was like, okay, I'm open to it because I started in Christ consciousness, right? At first, even when I share this with people, I'm like, it's not religious. It's not a religious book because I want people to
Yeah.
experience it and not just have that guard up. I think religion can be a very touchy subject. So, um, this book was written by a psychic medium.
Mhm.
She had her guide come to her at one point and said, you'll be writing books of autobiographies of famous people. There will be 21 of them, and they will come to you. You will channel them and channel their story. And she was like, okay, like she took it on as her project, right? And her spirit guide told her, you will not know who the next person is until you've completed the book of the person you are on. So she gets through book 21. She did like Marilyn Monroe, JFK, I forget who else, but she did 20 books. And she's ready for the last one. She's like, please don't be Jesus. Please don't be Jesus. Please don't be Jesus. Jesus comes to her and is like, okay, you're ready to hear my story. So this is a channeled story through this psychic medium from directly from Jesus. And it really helped to shift the way I think in general about everything in life. And I highly suggest it. I've listened to it twice on Audible. I have the paperback as well because that's how good it was. Um, so that's a highly suggested reading for it's not teaching Christ consciousness in a sense, but it's when you know enough about Christ consciousness, like kind of the basics we're talking about, and then you hear his story, it all aligns. You're like, oh my
Mm,
God, this really could could be true. That it helps you to understand a little bit better too.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so fulfilled. And I know I'm associating meaning, and that's okay, but I really feel that winning the divine lottery for me keeps expanding. And
Mm,
it's about what I feel in my energy. And it's just, my human would describe it as this is like a rich experience for me right now. And
yeah.
it's rich because it's aligned with what I love and what I love about being here. And
Yeah.
also, it's expanding me at the same time. Like, to me, that's like so juicy and delicious, like biting into your favorite meal and just being like, ah.
Yes. Well, and that's what we're here to do, right? Is have
Yeah.
experiences. So I'm glad that you feel that way. I'm so happy.
Yeah, like I would have never expected this.
Right? I know. I love it. This was not planned.
Okay, so I feel like we just need to wrap this up with like a couple beautiful questions and then maybe doing something fun at the end. Um, I ask everybody this. So in
Sure.
this moment for you, Andrea, when you hear winning the Divine Lottery, what does that mean for you?
Oh God, I love that. So the divine lottery for me really does connect to the Christ consciousness work. I think like cracking the code on that for me is would be winning the divine lottery because it's truly everything I could ever want and imagine at my fingertips, you know? So that's what when I hear that phrase, that's what I correlate it with.
Mm. And who do you believe at your core, your being in your life from this moment until until who knows when, but what's that next sort of timeline? How would you
Mm.
describe that?
That's a great question too. So one of the things in Christ consciousness that at the beginning that Michaela asks is who are you without your past? Like say you had dementia, you got hit over the head with something and you had dementia, you couldn't remember a freaking thing. Who are you without your past? And it's for me it was hard to answer. You know, I was like, well, I'm a divine being. Like none of what I've had experienced in the past would matter. None of it would be a part of my future story, right? So for me, when you asked the question, the first thing that came to me was just um being open and enjoying the journey, you know, because I don't know where it's going to go. But I feel like for a while now, I felt like there was going to be a big shift coming. I know when the baby gets here, and I'm not talking about like new mom shift shit. Okay. I'm talking like there's something really like special that's going to bloom in our lives. And I feel like that's a part of this journey that I'm on now. So it's just staying the course for me.
Wow. Just let me let me take a moment and soak all of that in. I just love that. I Your answers are so beautiful. I really want to close this differently today. I feel like we're supposed to do something fun together.
Okay.
Do you want to
I'm
sing a
game.
song?
Oh my God, with my cold, sure.
Yeah, I mean I can't sing, but I mean
People are gonna
I
end it
sing.
now.
That's okay. No, you can't end it. If you're still here, this is like the gold. If you can sing with us. It's Christmas is around the corner. Want to sing a
Yes.
Christmas song? And we only have to sing a couple lines. We don't have to like go all out.
I love to sing, so yeah, let's go. What do you
What's your
want to
favorite
sing?
Christmas song?
Oh God. Um, I don't know why, but We Wish You a Merry Christmas came to mind when you first said it. It is not my favorite, but
Let's do it. Let's wish
Okay.
everybody a Merry Christmas. Ready?
Okay.
One,
Yes.
two, three.
We
We
wish
wish
you
you
a
a
Merry
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
We
We wish
wish
you
you
a
a
Merry
Merry Christmas.
Christmas. We wish
Wish
you
you
a
a
Merry
Merry
Christmas
Christmas
and a
and a
Happy
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year.
So we're off on my end.
Are we? Who knows what it's going to sound like when I edit this?
Oh God, too funny. I love it though.
I
And I
love
love
you.
Christmas. Christmas is like, oh, just the most magical time. I am obsessed with winter and snow and all the
Yeah.
things. Yeah, so
Okay, I thought the podcast was going to end there, but I have to add to that because I love Christmas and I've gone through moments in my life where I lost that based on what I was
mm,
experiencing and the meaning and the stories I was giving it, right? So
yeah.
this Christmas, it's so different in our house. My
Yes.
dad passed away in March,
Yeah.
and I, I mean, I just feel like extra, extra, extra joy and extra
Yes.
sparkle. And we put up three Christmas trees. And just wait, I don't have that big of a house. And we adopted my parents' old Christmas tree that's huge. So we that takes up my whole living room. The cool part is, it was at least 3 weeks ago. I came home and my son kept texting me. He's like, when are you going to be home? When are you going to be home? And I walked in the door and all of the Christmas decorations were out in my living room. And as
Oh,
much as I love Christmas, I was like, bud, you need to put them all away. Like, I don't get it.
oh
And
my
I'm like, I
God.
love you, but December, oh yeah, I remember now. It was November 3rd. I was like, December 3rd, we'll do this all over again. Thank you for your efforts. I love you.
Yeah.
Just pause one other second. And then it was probably 2 weeks later, or maybe a little bit less, that he was rummaging around at night. And he's in the basement. And I was like,
Yeah.
what's this kid doing? I'm trying to go to sleep. So I get up the next morning, I go into his room, he's at school, and he put all the decorations in his bedroom.
Oh, oh
I
my God.
know, and set up the little tree. Okay, so we
Oh,
finally put our stuff upstairs,
yes.
and then we have a Christmas village that we absolutely do not have space for.
Yeah.
It was about a week ago, again, rummaging around. What's happening? He put it on his desk in his room, the Christmas village. Oh, it's just
Can
hilarious.
you remind me his age? He's a teenager.
He's 16.
Yeah, so that's like there's magic happening there as
Oh
it is.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
there's
that he's so
magic,
into it.
absolutely. Yeah,
Oh, Amy, I love
whatever this
this.
energy is, I'm calling it magic anyway.
Yes. Heck
Yeah.
yes. I love it. Oh,
Well,
I
I
love
love you
that.
so much, and thank you
I
for
love you
taking
too.
the time out with us today. And I know this is going to add so much value
I
in
hope
people's
so.
lives.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for listening. If you found this valuable, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend.